I don't have it.
I
I don't
you know
have
what?
it. I'm
This is
sorry.
a horrible night to have a weak ding, you know?
Yeah, we always have weak dings, and I'm waiting for. Okay, Elaine said she's sending us some bells so we can ring
Was she
bells, but I don't know.
teasing or is this real?
I don't know. Are you teasing us, Elaine? What is
Elaine,
happening?
are you teasing us?
Is it?
I think
I have no idea, guys. I just want to say, first of all, we have a few things to say at the top of the show tonight. First of all, welcome to Anchor Watch, our weekly below deck late night chat where we take over Up and Adam's channel and talk about the best and highest rated show on Bravo. By the way, Adam's just missing he's just missing it, so we had to do it for him. And there is such a chat in here tonight, so that's exciting.
We have a special guest tonight, and I'm super excited.
We do have a special guest, and I'm kind of blushing because I think she's so pretty.
Okay, Jason, I was gonna say I'm happily married, but there are a lot of guys out there who I would say had a crush on her, and I won't say I did, but
I think a lot of everyone would have a crush on Gabby. Like, what? This is crazy.
Yeah,
I'm so happy we have Gabby and Sean tonight.
yes. So I mean, we're starting to be like a real show that sounds like we know what we're doing. This is scary.
It's scary. It's scary. Right off the top of the show, though, I do want to thank Worth Avenue Yachts. You guys are amazing. We can't wait to be with you guys at the Palm Beach Boat Show next month and hang out with you all and Captain Sean for being here again. There he is. There he is. So we also have Gabby here tonight. Also, I heard from Jen Bennington and Adrian Gang who do Gangplank Report. And we always push their podcast because they covered Below Deck Adventure and everything. They are wrapping it for a little bit. And so we just wanted to let you know that. And we wish them all the best right now. They are amazing. They've had great conversations. Actually, the reason Gabby is here tonight is because of Adrian. So we're blessed. We're blessed.
Yeah. And I just want to say, thanks to everyone who hits the like button and comments. I go in every week and try to comment back. We were actually talking about this before the show. Look, it's just our opinions, and sometimes I don't, but I think Jason gets some things wrong, and
wait, excuse me?
Wait.
I think you just got that wrong.
Oh, wait, well, but what I want to say is I think it's great. You guys, again, are really respectful in how you guys present opposing views and stuff. And I love that because I do want to grow. I do want to learn. I do want to hear different opinions. So by all means, share them. If you think you guys are way off the mark or you missed this or you missed that. Some of you have swayed me. You have turned me around on some things.
No, 100%.
Yeah. And then other stuff, I think you guys are lunatics. But on some of that stuff. I'm
kind of glad that this episode was a little slower than usual, It was cool. It was a fun episode. It's one of those, we talk about how they have these ups and downs throughout the season to kind of keep us going. This episode was a little more calm, and I'm glad it was because, I want to get Gabby's input on everything. I want to get, we have a lot of questions for Captain Sean. When we said comment below and ask Sean a question, you guys asked a lot of questions. So we're going to do probably a little longer of a show tonight. I think it will be kind of,
yes. And then, before we do anything else, Jason, tell them what we're going to try next week.
Okay, so what we're going to try next week is a lot of people have been reaching out and saying we miss callers, we miss calling in, we miss talking about it, and we do record this double as YouTube and for the podcast as well. So what we're going to do next week is we're going to do a half-hour show here on Up and Adam, and then we're going to jump over to Up and Adam 2 for what we're going to call a tip meeting, and we're all going to call in, take a panel, and get everyone's opinions because the opinions this season. Like I said, season 9 was such a snooze, right? And now we have season 10 back, and everyone's great TV. Everyone is great TV, but there are a lot of opinions, so we want to hear from all of you and hear what you have to say too.
Yeah. By the way, you guys, I regretfully forget who suggested tip meeting in the chat, but it was
Ella.
One of you.
It was Ella,
okay,
and she's
Ella.
in Norway right now. So yes.
Okay, we got to credit her. I think that's a great idea. So we're gonna have a tip meeting next week. Everybody to the lounge. We're going to chat.
Yes.
You guys got to call in. If this is going to work, then you guys got to call in and we'll have the link ready to go. We're going to go to the second channel for that. So
yes,
we'll drag you guys all along. It's a party, right? So the party will continue.
Yes. And Team Sean is in the house. Sean is here live from Monaco tonight. Last week, he was here from Amsterdam. I mean, we're lucky that he even wants to show up at this time because it is 11 p.m. here on the East Coast. It's 8 p.m. over there, which works perfect for Gabby because she's on the West Coast right now. So should we jump in with Gabby?
Yes. I've been waiting all
right,
night.
let's jump right in. Gabby, I'm going to bring you up. Hi.
Gabby.
Hi, everyone.
Thanks for being here. Like I honestly, last week when Adrian, like, she kind of force called you to me, if that makes sense.
She caught me off guard and then just handed you the phone. I thought we were going to catch up, but then your voice came on and I'm like, who is this?
And you said one thing to me too. And by the way, welcome. We're so lucky to have you. But you said one thing to me too. It's like, I don't think we agreed on Twitter. And I was like, I know we didn't. But when I read your Twitter about things you have to say about the current season and stuff, like, a lot of it makes sense. And you have the experience, not only as a Yachty, but as a former cast member. You know, you can give a lot of insight. But I wanted to ask you, what are your thoughts on this season so far? Are you enjoying it, especially from being a former cast member?
Yeah, I've always been a huge Bravo fan and Below Deck fan. I started watching it season 1.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, I mean, my trivia and knowledge of the show, like, I can usually recall if someone's like, what was that one person's name on this? I'm like, Riley or Ashton. Like, I've always been a fan of the show. So, of course, I'm watching it. But now that I've been on the show and we filmed 2 years ago, I think I'm getting to a point where it's too hard to watch because I don't feel like an audience member anymore, where I'm living vicariously through the cast. Now I'm a former cast member. And now I really work on Yachts. So it's not an escape. It's like, would you go home from work and watch a show about work?
Well, and I'll tell you, Jason and I we met in live entertainment. And so when I go watch a show, half the time I'm looking like, are they staying in character till they get out of sight lines? I wonder what they're doing right now. What kind of stuff are they doing backstage? What's their rituals and stuff that they do backstage? It's like, and actually, the reason why I think Jason and I really like Below Deck is because for us, it reminds us a lot of On Tour, because you're working together, you're living together, you step out from behind the curtain, you have an audience there, you go back behind the curtain, you gripe about them, then you go back out with a smile on your face. It's like, it's a very similar world to what you guys are doing. And so
I mean, you have people from all over the world, right?
Yes.
From different backgrounds, with different disciplines, from different countries, with different cultures. They come together, and you're literally creating an experience for guests, you know. And
so we have like one common thing: we're all here for money and to make sure that the guests have a memorable, bespoke experience. So
I mean, it's
everything
not free.
else is like, it's not cheap. But you know, we need a show about, I mean, because I imagine that the drama and like the discourse is the same for the production crew, because they all live and work together as well. So like, imagine if the cameras were on the production crew, like working on a reality TV show in the field. Like, I think that'd be really cool. But I mean, there was kind of a show like that on Hulu called Unreal, which I loved. You haven't seen it?
Wait, hold on. Nope.
It's
Writing
scripted.
it down currently.
It's called Unreal. And it used to be on Hulu. And it was about, like, loosely based on The Bachelor, The Bachelorette. And the show was about the producers of reality TV. It was pretty cool.
Awesome.
That is cool.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a lot to juggle in real life, like working on Yachts. And then with a production crew of 60, a chase yacht following you around, like, it adds an extra element. It's a total pressure cooker.
And Gabby, I was just going to say, just to build a context around what we're going to be talking about tonight, you are still currently working in the industry, right?
Yes, I have not stopped. So when I started in 2020, I had a good year experience before I was on the show. After the show, I stayed in Spain and continued to work there for the rest of the year. Then I went to the Caribbean, learned how to sail, did a whole Caribbean season, came home for a little bit, and then just I haven't stopped working or traveling. So this is the longest I've been in San Diego in almost 3 years since I've joined yachting.
What was the process to get, did they approach you? Did you approach them? Like, how, because from what we heard, the yachting world is actually kind of small. Like you guys, everyone kind of knows
It's
each
tiny.
other and stuff. Yeah. So
It's-
how did
it's-
that kind of work? You getting on it?
So there's two processes. So some people apply because you can go to the Bravo TV website and apply for reality shows. And then they have casting directors and scouts that scour through Instagram, Facebook groups. You know, if you just look up the hashtag yacht life, then you'll see everyone posting that's on a yacht. And then they go through your profile and they're like, message you. So I got a DM from a casting director at 51 Minds. And so she was the first one that scouted me. But then the world is just small in general, because then she got pregnant, passed me off to someone else who remembered me from when I applied to be on Survivor like 1,000 years ago.
Wow. That's wild.
Yeah, it was crazy. And she's like, I'm taking over for Kristen. She's on maternity leave, but I remember you from Survivor. And I was like, I totally forgot I even applied to that.
Wow.
But yeah.
Oh my God.
Wow, Gabby, you're memorable. If she, because I've got to imagine they have about 1 billion people who apply every year for Survivor. So,
right. Well, awesome. I had a friend that was on Survivor, so she referred me. So I kind of got to skip the line a little bit. Yeah. So it's just, we all meet each other. There's so many cast members that on different franchises that I knew before I got casted or before they did. And then we're catching up and I'm like, where have you been? Oh, I just finished filming Below Deck. And I'm like, shut up, me too. Yeah. So it's a small world and it gets smaller and smaller. And now that the Below Deck community is growing, like I see other cast members in different countries. Like me and Adrian ran into each other in Albany in the Bahamas. We were in the same marina and I hadn't seen her in months. And the next thing you know, she's giving me boxed wine and we're drinking in the crew mess on her boat, watching one of my episodes. And I don't remember the rest.
I mean, I'm just going to be quiet on this one. I have to say, okay, so your experience from getting cast in the show to the show, what was it like having cameras in your face all the time? And what was it like? What was the whole experience like? Was it a good experience? Was it a not great experience? And do you think that editing made you look a certain way? Like, how was the whole thing? And thank you so much for the super sticker. We appreciate it.
I don't know, the whole process from beginning to end, because I was really invested by the time I actually got casted, because we had been talking for over a year about putting me on a show, but I didn't have enough experience yet in yachting. So they were like, let's put you on this or that. Like they really wanted me on TV. So I finally got on the show, filmed it, and then you wait a whole 8 months until the show airs. And then you have to rewatch everything that happened and you're like re-pissed off.
That's what Twitter's for.
Yeah. You're like, you moved on and you're like, oh, I'm doing great. And then it airs and you're like, oh, fuck. This is like the first time seeing it as well. And then you're like, oh, I forgot that happened. Or I didn't know this person said that. While like in my case, I'm still working on yachts. I'm, working on a boat and then having charter guests recognize me because my show's airing. Yeah. But yeah, that's weird. Or some people are afraid to say something and then they do. It's so bizarre. It's weird. It's really weird. That's the only word I have for it at the moment, but it's fun. I will say that overall, it was a good thing. I think I was meant to be on TV. I think I was born and bred to be on TV. I went to performing arts school. I did show choir. I was in musicals. I play instruments. Like, okay, I had a whole entertainment life before Below Deck. Yes. So it seems like, well, duh, of course, I ended up on TV. It was inevitable. Yeah, the whole thing was great. Not everyone gets asked to be on a TV show. It's kind of like a once in a lifetime opportunity.
I have to say the way you delivered yourself on the show was amazing too. In fact, we covered your season on my old channel before we brought this show over to Adam's channel, and called it Anchor Watch and whatever. We were talking about sailing, and Josh and I were talking about how you were one of our favorite cast members. We loved how you dealt with a lot of the situations you had to deal with, especially with some of the charter guests. But why did you choose to leave? Can I ask you that?
Oh, well, that was definitely not easy. And like I said, with the camera crews there, and I mean, the charters and the turnarounds are so fast. And yes, I had already been used to chartering, but you get like a week or like 10 days with the guests, and you get to ease into everything, and it just becomes so natural. And then you have a couple days in between, maybe sometimes a week, to flip the boat and have a couple nights off. And on the show, you don't have that time. You arrive, you turn the boat around and pick up charter the next day. You've only just met each other, so the chemistry is not there naturally sometimes. And with all that being said, with a camera in your face when you're making a cocktail or making a bed, you know that there's other yachties at home watching, waiting for you to do something wrong.
Yeah, of course.
And you just want to, it's like if you're in a rush, you might grab a piece of ice with your hand, but if there's a camera there, you grab the scooper. I don't know. Your brain is working overtime trying to do everything like to the T and better and at the standard that you want to represent. So that's always in your mind. So it's a little more exhausting. The charters are 2 to 3 days long. You don't have any turnaround time. You don't have 24 hours off, even in between. So
you guys film for like 6 to 8 weeks, right? Is that kind of my?
It's 6 weeks.
6 weeks. That's what I thought.
So I lasted
Which
4
makes
weeks.
it, we remind people of this all the time. Like when we're watching the drama on, let's say, Below Deck Med from last season between Natasha and Chef Dave, we're just reminding you this is all taking place in 6 weeks. So that's when it gets a little cray for me. But
and time moves differently at sea, I think. And our jobs are so intimate. We're washing each other's underwear, cleaning each other's toilets. You just get to know people so much quicker. You get to know people on a non-surface level. You see them at their best, their worst, their most stressed out, their happiest, their most depressed, all within a short amount of time. So time speeds up in a way. When I decided to leave, I felt that I was just overwhelmed. I felt isolated, and whether I isolated myself or I just could feel the energy from the crew that they didn't really warm up to me, made me kind of go into myself and overthink everything and then drink to cope, which made things worse because if you make me upset on the clock and I have 4 shots of tequila, I'm probably going to say something and make every situation awkward. And
well, one thing that I remember, Gabby, from your season, and it was interesting because obviously they really liked you and stuff. And so I remember watching the show and kind of feeling like, where did this come from? I thought everyone loved Gabby because they didn't show us the tensions building and stuff like that. It seemed like the crew loved you, you loved the crew. And then all of a sudden it was like, I feel isolated. I'm in a bad place. And now we're arguing. And it's like, whoa, it felt like it came out within an episode or two. And then all of a sudden it's like, now Gabby's choosing to leave. We're like, no, don't go. And so it was
I think they definitely pulled the plug a little bit early. I mean, if you think about it, I was there for 8 charters and only 10 episodes. And then Scarlett was there for 2 charters and she got 6 or 7 episodes. It doesn't make sense. Yes. Our audience is smarter than they think. It did come out of nowhere in your guys' perspective because it did. I think that the show is supposed to be escapist and travel and fun and upbeat. And I do think that it was getting really dark and kind of heavy. And the fun was getting sucked out of it by the toxicity that was going on between the crew and I. And they were making me miserable and I was making them miserable. And there was just a lot of things that I think producers chose, or editors as well, not to show because it was just too sad or too cringy or too
bummer cruise for 8 weeks.
Bummer. It would have been a bummer show. And, they know what they're doing. It's Emmy Award winning, People's Choice Award nominated.
Yes.
Big deal.
Yes. I mean, it is. It literally is. We joke about this all the time that we recap the highest rated show. Josh has a tweet somewhere on his Twitter where it's like, he made it look like amazing, where we recap the highest rated show on Bravo. And it
I
is
mean,
true.
it's kind of a
And
big deal. Hey,
Gabby, to be honest, like, you were such a fantastic cast member. Really quick, Shelly, thank you so much for the super chat. We appreciate you so much. And Shelly, we have a lot of your questions for Captain Sean coming up. Thanks for the show. I look forward to it every week. We appreciate that. Thank you. Gabby, what is your relationship now? I want to ask you a few things, if it's okay.
Okay.
Because I know I
Yeah.
said I would keep you 10 minutes, and here we are 21 minutes in.
Oh,
But
I
I
could
feel
talk
like
for hours.
I feel like we're all set up for this. I mean, you look like you belong here. Like, look at this. Like, it's like we all
well,
match.
Introduce your new co-host. No offense.
I know, right? Welcome, Gabby, to the show. She's a
Welcome,
regular
Gabby.
host.
Anytime you want to be here, we would love to have you.
Yeah.
What
Thank
is
you.
your relationship like with the other crew that you were on with your season of Below Deck Sailing? Because I mean, honestly, I think Adam knows this. Everyone knows. I had a crush on Colin. I love his YouTube channel, Parlay Revival. I love everything he does. I love Captain Glenn, and I do love the kind of camaraderie of the sailing crew, as opposed to, let's say, like this Below Deck crew or the Below Deck Med crew. But what is your relationship like with everyone?
Well, no, I'm just kidding.
You don't have to name them all individually.
No,
but just in general.
it's kind of funny because I'm a lot closer with cast members from other franchises that I talk to on a regular basis, like Nathan from Adventure, Casey from Adventure.
I love Casey. I just met Casey.
Casey's fabulous.
We did a whole like adventure kind of my God, why am I blanking tonight?
Like a viewing party?
Yeah, we did a fundraiser for the Children's Museum at the Treasure Coast.
Oh, that's so cool.
So Adrian and Captain Carrie, and then all the cast showed up, and it was a lot of fun. It was. I talked
to Carrie a lot too. I Adventure and I were like good. My crew, though,
you heard it here first, guys. Gabby's on the next season of Below Deck Adventure.
Yes, so possibly a new captain.
Me and Carrie have a really good rapport, and I think I tweeted something like, "I would love to work with Carrie," and he's like, "Make a phone call," and I was like, "Oh my God!" He just vouched for me.
Wait, could we possibly ever see you? Okay, I'm asking you so many questions that I'm gonna like confuse you, but really quickly, could we ever see you on Below Deck again?
Maybe.
Thank you.
I mean, why not? I think that audience also has a lot to do with it, and like, fans and viewership. So, if people are constantly tagging Bravo TV on Twitter, hint, hint, and being like, we need to see Sailing Gabriela back, hint, hint, then I think they do take that into consideration.
I just want everyone to make sure they heard that.
I'm trying to find my
for the people in the back.
Yeah, so everyone follows.
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed. I would not be opposed to do another season, but I would definitely enter it differently. I think that I took myself too serious. I forgot what the show was because I looked at it as a job, like another yachting job. I was thinking more about doing my job and doing it well, and less about like having fun and like relaxing a little bit. I think I was too in my head, too uptight in certain situations. And I think this time I would go in to just have a good time. Like it's a given that I'm good at my job. Like, that's why I get paid the big bucks.
We saw that.
So, like,
you gave us evidence of that.
Yeah, Gabby, look what the audience wants to know. Gabby, look what the audience wants to know. Who are you dating?
And I saw a comment earlier. Are you still friends with Wes?
Okay, everyone always wants to know who I'm dating.
I mean, look at you. I mean, I question I'm like, am I with the right person? I'm gay and I'm married. But then you come on and I'm like, I'm not sure. Like,
I've been known, as you guys remember, to turn people. Remember that one charter guest?
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
yes. Oh my God, yes. That
you remember he was like, I'm gay, but and I was like, whoa. What's going
now you
on?
have two.
Well, hello. Get in line. No, I'm just kidding. No, Wes and I broke up. I mean, he was going to stay in St. Thomas. He also was doing the Boy Scouts of America sailing edition, and I continued chartering. So Wes didn't come from big boats. That wasn't his thing. And I love money. So I was like, I'm going to keep chartering, and it takes me away. And trying to maintain a relationship in yachting is nearly impossible unless you and your partner work on the same vessel.
I can't even imagine what that would be like.
It's so hard. It's so hard. Even maintaining friendships and cultivating friendships you know, is nearly impossible. You never know your schedule. You really don't know where you're going to be next or how long you're staying somewhere. So it's hard, but I'm dating someone now and he's a landy.
Okay.
Ooh.
Okay.
Like he's not in yachting. So
all right.
that's all
So
I'm going to say about that.
Awesome. Okay.
Just
can I
before
do?
everyone
Can I
does
do
Gabby's
their
like the
quick?
Little
research
Mermaid. Gabby's got her feet. She's walking on land. She's
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm dating a
She met
landy.
Eric. That's nice.
okay. Wait, Gabby.
No.
So I have a question now because Jason's
Okay.
hogging you. Okay.
Oh,
so,
sorry.
I
Now
don't
have a
even think I
rapid fire
answered
round
the
right
other
after this.
questions.
No, that's why I'm going to rapid fire you in a second.
Well,
So
okay.
wait, no,
Before
Josh,
we
go
do
ahead.
that, though,
Go ahead.
I
Go ahead.
do want to bring this because Gabby does tweet and watches the show a lot of
Yes.
times because she's on the West Coast. So her and I often are on at the same time
Yes.
tweeting. So here's my question for you, Gabby. I'm curious what you think about. I've been very vocal about my thoughts about Fraser and kind of the growth he's going through right now as a chief stew. I would love to just get your thoughts on like Fraser's season so far. Like what overall, like what do you think about, you know, his job and how he's doing and how he's handled things? And it could be really high level. It doesn't, you know, because obviously I'm asking about the whole season, but just curious to hear your thoughts.
I fell in love with
Yeah.
Fraser from his first season.
Yep.
I definitely saw the potential, like in the TV perspective, like he had the wit and snarkiness of Kate. And I was like, oh, he's a forever cast member. Like I thought that right away. And then his standard that he brought, you know, he was head of housekeeping on his previous yachts, which is a huge job. You manage stews underneath you. You make sure the housekeeping department is amazing. And he brought that his first season, which was not a surprise when he got bumped up to chief stew. And to be the first male chief stew on any of the franchises ever, okay, making history, gay man, again, making history. Like I was just like, yes, I'm here for it.
Yep.
I feel horrible after seeing, especially the last 2 episodes, about how he's being challenged at every turn and micromanaged. Like, honestly, that is not what it's like in real yachting. It is not. And I know that Sandy also has a high standard, and this is no shade or disrespect to Sandy, but we just don't work that way. Captains literally stay out of our hair because they trust their head of departments, and we are adults. And when you hire someone for that position, you just know that they know what they're doing. Mm-hmm. So I'm like mad for him. Like, I know that I would have already jumped overboard if I was having someone pick apart my job every day, all day. And then I thought about it when I was rewatching last night's episode. I actually was like, I don't remember seeing Glenn on camera this much on like my season. Like Captain Glenn was like never poking his head in the galley. Point. He was never like on Daisy. Daisy would get frustrated and talk shit about Glenn, and she would say it to his face, and they would, you know, have a spat. Like, she's like, Glenn, we just served lunch. Are you really going to go sailing right now? And he'd be like, well, there's wind, so figure it out. And that was it. You know, it was always playful and lighthearted and wasn't so like authoritative. And we all respected him, and he just trusted us to do our thing. He never spoke to us unless we had like Erica Rose, that charter. That was the only time Glenn had to speak to Marcos about the food. But he did it out of the principle and to go through the motions.
Josh, we named that episode. I think we named that episode "Small Tip" because didn't they like remember them? Do you remember how awful they were? The Erica Rose charter.
Yeah, they're unforgettable. Of course, I remember.
Unforgivable as well.
Yes.
But yeah, so I was just watching it again, like, you know, Sandy won me over last season because the way she handled Natasha and Chef David's situation. I was like, okay, she's, you know, backed up a little bit. But then this season she came back like times 10. And it's crazy, man. I feel so bad for Fraser. I think Fraser's great at his job. I think the crew, like his stews are great. And I just don't think she's like building confidence when that's her whole thing. Right. Well, it's to like Gabby, lift people up and work with people. And then at every corner, she's throwing him under the bus.
Quick. We did a reset, Josh, right before Below Deck Med. We were like, listen, Captain Sandy she has a lot going against her. She's a female in this industry, and we like to see her on TV. And we did a whole reset. I said, let's watch Below Deck Med resetting Captain Sandy, right? And then we come into this season, and now I do see the perspective of people who are like, you're micromanaging. You're on, you know what I mean? Like it's you treat people differently sometimes, and we're not really sure why, especially when it comes to the deck team and the interior team. That's interesting that you said that.
I'm going to respectfully challenge the two of you
Oh,
in
God.
this. So here's the thing, though. I did see though, like because he was always one of the things I loved about him in his first season stuff. He was like you said, he was witty, had a little bit of snark to him in a fun way, like only the British can, right?
Yeah.
But also like there was like kind of a joy to him. Like he was genuinely enjoying himself. Like you could tell, like Fraser is having fun. He is enjoying this job, you know?
Yeah.
This, it's like he had so much piled on him. We lost like the joyful Fraser, and I was like, oh man. Now, my stance has always been, watch. We're watching a guy go through the pains of growing. Yes,
yeah.
yes. But I think as much as it was like painful to watch, and some people are like, hey, she's like really riding his ass and stuff like that. I will say, like, this last episode, it felt like we're starting to see the Fraser we've been waiting to see. Like he's coming back. And I feel like it's almost like those things that maybe like a loved one tells you that like you don't. Jason and I talk about this a lot. Your spouse, Adam, my wife, Natalie, like sometimes they tell us stuff and you're just like, oh, but it's because they love you and you need to hear it. And only the person who's really close to you is going to tell you, or someone who loves you. I feel like in some ways, Captain Sandy helped Fraser grow in ways, because like it was kind of cancerous to have a negative energy.
Mm-hmm.
Now it could be totally justified, she was having a hard time and stuff like that, but I felt like there was a lightness to the rest of this episode. Like in my opinion, he did feel like a weight was off his shoulder. He seemed a little happier, and I liked his attitude and his response to her, which was like, I want to impress you. I think it was like a light at the end of the tunnel moment, and like you made it to the other side. I think he was flustered, and there was a lot of pressure. He had the Camille and Alissa drama. A new captain came on. There was so much going on, and it's a bigger boat as well. And then having to manage a deck stew, a dual position, like there's so much thrown at him his first season as chief stew, and I just think that was. The defensiveness was coming from defeat. And then and then when he spoke to his mom on the phone, and he just was like, I messed up and I feel so embarrassed. I was like, okay, this is the upswing. Like, and you can tell definitely in last night's episode that he's like, and then it's kind of like Sandy's like, see, that's all I was trying to say. It's just like, and then of course, when you don't
I look at it too, Captain Sandy just said on Heather McDonald's Juicy Scoop that this is the biggest boat she's ever, is it driven? Is that the right way to say
captained?
Captain. This is the biggest boat she's captained before, and she was a bit nervous going in. This is also a challenge for Fraser, who's like kind of a new chief stew, and he has to manage all of this. But I felt like he was dealt a bad hand.
Yeah,
and I think we're watching his journey. And we're going to watch it go through to season 11.
Sandy too, though. She kind of walked into a bad hand as well, like with the drama. And, so in that sense, I can say, I know I'm like, oh, Sandy's a micromanager. Maybe I'm still salty about Hannah. I don't know.
Everyone is. Don't worry.
So like, I'm trying to see it from a captain's perspective. And she had a lot on her plate as well. And, in that sense, Josh, you had a really good point. I can waver my opinion a little bit.
Well, and the other thing I was thinking about Fraser, want to talk about, stress. So not only the stress of doing this job, but you have to think behind the scenes. They've kind of said, look, I can't imagine they wouldn't have said to him, look, we kind of want to build you up and we want you to be a part of this franchise going forward. Don't mess this up, kind of. You know what I mean? Like, and it was like, so you've got to think too, the stress he's under of like, oh, this is this big season that I'm supposedly proving myself to be the next, some people are saying Kate Chastain and stuff like that. It's like, so it's like, holy cow, like there's a lot of pressure on this guy just from a pure show casting point of view too. So
and he's doing great considering all of that. I think he's doing great. And because I know the pressure behind the scenes as well, I'm like, I know that I'm nervous in my first chief stew role. Like, imagine the whole world watching that. Like, I think you guys mentioned that last week on your episode, and I was like, oh yeah, I didn't think about that either. But yeah, it's a lot.
Well, like you said, not only were you doing your job and trying to do your job well, you also had 60 people crews filming you and sticking cameras in your face, and you're also aware, oh yeah, everything I'm doing right now is going to be documented and shown on television. Like,
right.
So I can't like, it's hard enough to do your job, let alone do your job in a way that, oh, I'm going to be put up as an example of how to do this job. Oh my gosh. So yeah, it's
not easy.
Yeah.
It's not easy at all.
Gabby, you're so much fun to talk to.
I know. I feel like we could sit here and do this all night. And we still have Sean and a recap. But I do have a question, because this is a very interesting question.
Is this a 7-part question?
I know.
I swear to goodness gracious, it is just one question. If there is any other captain you could work for besides Glenn on
I love Glenn. I feel like I'm going to be cheating if I say someone else. I'm just kidding. I would say Carrie. Captain Carrie. Yeah. I mean, I've met him at a watch party, and he's just his energy is infectious. His laugh is infectious. He's so nice and cool. His kid, his family, everyone. Oh my God, I don't know. I would love to. And he's like no bullshit. He's cool, but he will let you know immediately, like, who's in charge. Get it together. I like the way he handled Chef Jess when she was having her moments. Yep. And I respect him a lot. So I would work with him.
that viewing party that you went to, I was supposed to be there, and I missed meeting you.
Ugh,
so
bummer.
That really sucks. But Captain Carrie is just
I mean,
I have nothing.
He kind of came in and made me forget about Captain Jason.
Oh yeah, right.
No shade. Just like I was lusting over Captain Jason a little bit. So in a way where I was like, oh, like, who's this guy, like Star Trek looking?
Yeah. I'm a Trekkie, so that sits well with me. I love that.
Gabby.
Okay, really quickly.
Get you back, Gabby. Like, maybe.
Oh wait, what is?
Can you come back? Will you come join us again?
I didn't get fired, so I'm not completely off. Never to be seen again.
But you'll come back here on
we're here? I thought you were talking about the show again. I was like, oh,
yeah.
Of course. Anytime.
Okay,
I have like a work-life balance now. Like, I get to leave the boat and go home, and so yeah, whenever you guys want me back, I'll be back.
Awesome.
Thank you. I mean, people are even saying that. They're like, I wish Gabby came back. Gabby, please come back. We appreciate you being here. And I just really quickly, can I rapid fire you just really quick?
Okay. I'm ready.
Can you just say yes or no? Do you have a good relationship still with your cast members? So
no.
If I said Daisy, you would say.
We don't speak anymore. I don't speak to anyone anymore. From
no
my cast.
Marcos, no.
I talked to Tom. I talked to Tom.
Tom Pearson.
Yes, I talked to Tom. I talked to Kelsey. She's also from San Diego. I talked to Scarlett. Ironically enough,
she was really funny, by the way.
Scarlett got me a job. I've seen her. I've hung out with her here. Like, Scarlett and I are tight. Tom, Kelsey. That's about it. I don't talk to anyone else.
Wow. All right. I don't blame you.
The youngins. I'm still friends with the kids.
Gabby, I have to say thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thank you for having me. That was fun.
I did say like 10 minutes. Thank you for staying 40.
How long has it been?
It's been 40 minutes.
Oh my God.
I could talk to you for another 40 minutes. And I think the chat right now is going so crazy. We have 172 in the room currently.
Oh my gosh. Hi, everyone.
If you haven't done so already, this is probably going to be one of our best episodes. And if you guys are watching this, don't worry. I will chapter this so you can see Gabby, you can see the recap, Captain Sean, etc. But yeah, everyone is asking you to come back. So we hope to have you back soon.
Yes.
Well, thank you guys so much. It was so fun. Just call me if you want me back.
Yeah.
We will. And guys,
we'll work.
Anytime, make sure you guys are hashtagging Below Deck. We want Gabby back because listen, it needs to happen.
Hashtag redemption season at Bravo TV.
Everyone loves a character arc. Like, we need to see you like,
yeah.
We need to see this whole thing happen.
I love that for me. Anyways, thanks guys. I appreciate it.
We love that for you. We love you.
Gabby, thank you.
So good, by the way.
Thank you.
All right, bye,
Bye,
Gabby.
everyone.
Guys, how lucky are we? We get Gabby, we get Sean tonight. I mean, Josh,
That
I'm
was
gonna keep you
awesome.
up
That
till
was
like
awesome.
late your time.
And I just love, I mean, it's so much fun when you just start. I didn't feel like we were old friends. I feel like Gabby, like, I feel like we've had a million conversations, like how easily that flowed. So
Seriously.
we definitely need to get her back. And because she watches currently, it'll be fun. Like, let's really pull her into a recap next time. And like, let's go through, because I want to hear her perspective, having been, I mean, there's very few people in the world who've been on the other side of the lens. So I want to hear her perspective when we're going through an episode. And we're going into some crazy stuff at the end of the season. They've teased us with a lot of crazy stuff. So we will definitely have to get Gabby back for some of these crazy episodes we're having to get her
Agreed.
Thoughts. So yeah, thank you guys. Thank you. For those of you guys who are smashing the like button and all that, awesome. Thank you.
That's our tip. I can't listen. We're 41 minutes in here. Before we get into our recap, it was a slower episode, I do have to say. You know, we had a lot happen.
There's a couple things to hit on, but you're right. For the most part, there's not as much. A couple craziness from the guests. Really, you know, Alissa leaving isn't even that big of a thing. She left right away. We kind of talked about it. You know what? You know what I have to say really quick before we bring Sean up, because he's about to come up. I kind of like felt for Alissa, and from the beginning, it's been like, Camille, get the hell off our screens. But I have to say, this whole drama between Camille, Alissa, and everything happening on the boat has kept us very interested in this season, right? But yes, I did feel for Alissa when she left. I felt when she was talking to Haley, like, should I go apologize to Captain Sandy? I was like, would have that made a difference or not? But I did feel for her in this moment. And I was like, yeah, maybe. I don't think this is her. You know what I mean? Put a pin in this. Let's come back. I have some thoughts similar, but a little different. I do want to touch on this. I want to talk about, I think you're different. Wrong. No, but
right.
But we have Captain Sean calling in all the way from Monaco.
And last week we got him from Amsterdam. If you guys haven't been following Captain Sean, again, if you guys are here for the replay and you're looking for the recap, I will chapter this. I will timestamp it so you can push if you want to see Sean, you want to see Gabby, if you want to see the recap. But tonight you probably want to watch the whole thing. I promise. There's 169 in the room. Hit that like button if you haven't done so already. And guys, should we bring up Captain Sean right now? He's ready?
I love Captain Sean. Bring on Captain Sean.
Let's bring on Captain Sean. You have a better intro than we do. Just letting you know.
Well, that's because you didn't have the editor to Deadpool do it.
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah.
You had the editor of Up and Atom.
That's
Womp womp. Captain Sean, the view behind you. What are we looking at? I mean, I know it's dark, but we see some light.
You're looking at right. Look, where is it?
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Is this
right
a James Bond set?
That's the Monaco Yacht Club, and right there, of course, is a garbage truck that's now picking garbage up as I'm in my background. But anyway, that's this. You get my hand here. But anyway, that highway there is that's from the during the Monaco Grand Prix. That's where the cars come down right from there.
I actually, recognize that, and I've never been there. That's how obsessed I am. The first time I will be in Monaco is with actually Sean, so that's exciting. Sean, you know what? Like, you're kind of a little superstar here at Anchor Watch because we got a lot of questions for you this week.
I actually get a lot of questions that came off my Instagram as well.
All right. Do you want to compete? Do you want to go? No,
why don't you start with a few questions?
I do have a few questions, and some of them are really good. And then Shelly, I saw you gave us a super chat earlier, and I said we would bring up some of your questions. But I want to start with this one, Captain Sean. And again, thank you for being here, especially with your travels and how busy you are. You always show up.
And the questions Captain Sean gets are a lot nicer than the ones I get. I get things like, who do you think you are? How dare you? So
That
No,
means
I'm
we're
kidding.
getting good, Josh. You're getting
I'm
like
kidding.
tweet hate, right?
the
You're
people
getting
who watch
the
the show,
tweet hate.
our friends are awesome.
tweet-
No, let's ask.
Yeah.
I get Reddit hate.
Oh, I don't check out Reddit. I feel like Twitter's like enough. I stop at Twitter. Like I'll do the other ones, and then when it comes to Reddit, I'll stop. All right. So Captain Sean, I know I kind of answered this one for you, but I wanted to in the comments, but I wanted to ask you because I think a lot of people don't know this. But the question was, why do crew and charter guests take off their shoes before getting on the boat? Because we see that all the time.
Yeah, that's a good basic question, and the answer to that question is quite simple. It's that a lot of the surface, well, it keeps the boat cleaner, but there's a lot of the surfaces on the boat are relatively delicate, like teak. Can be soft, and you don't want to scuff the decks up, you don't want to scuff the marble up, and it just removes one step that the stewardess and the exterior team have to do by keeping things clean. So
that's easy
enough.
Enough.
It's just the same reason you take your shoes off if you went into your house. Oh, why? Thank you, N.
100%. And the most interesting man in the world, Team Sean. I can't even tell you. Like, we're lucky because we know him. And we've seen the fuller picture of Captain Sean, but we're lucky enough to give you a 10% of Captain Sean.
Yes.
Tonight, he's a superstar here. Says Cheese Pixie. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
Reddit just doesn't know. Okay, my next question for you is, what is the longevity of a career in yachting? Because a couple of people were asking in the comments, like if someone were to step in as like a stew or a bosun or whatever, how long could they go in this career? I would assume as long as you want, but
well,
what would you say to that?
It's like combat. As we're about to go into a charter season, you look around and you say, some of you won't be here at the end. And it's the same true. It's the same with like a career. I mean, it's people that jump in. I think you can liken it to really a career in anything. Is that if you stagnate and stay that where you are, your career is not going to be long, or it's going to be miserable. But if you're able to continue to grow and do interesting things, and you still find fun in the job, well, then you can do it for a long time. There is a shelf life on it, which is why, I'm trying to transition and to do some more interesting stuff. One of the reasons I'm here in Europe is that I'm looking into more design and sustainability, talking to manufacturers that are doing amazing things within this industry, and you can liken it to the space program. So I guess that, yeah, I'll probably be in this industry for the rest of my life, but only if I continue to grow and do more interesting things.
And then we do have your talk that you were doing about ocean plastics is in the description below. If you guys haven't seen that, it's amazing. Josh, sorry.
No, I was going to say that the thing I think is really interesting too, Sean, is like some of the stuff you're doing is completely on land, has nothing. You're not on this, out on the waters or anything, but the things you're doing still come from the foundation of you being an experienced captain, and you're using that experience to help guide different organizations or projects and stuff like that. So I think it's interesting to watch you like kind of take that experience and then expand it and use it in a way that informs these companies you're working with and stuff. So people say, well, what do you do, or how do you like to describe yourself? And this can sound maybe a little snooty, but I'm really more of an artist at heart, and my medium that I chose to do my art is within this medium, whether it's driving the boat or creating things, and that's truly what I enjoy. And I've been really, really privileged to use my skill and my knowledge in areas that I think someday are really going to change transportation on this planet. We would hope, especially some of the stuff you're doing. It's like we want those things to actually take off.
Today, just like a quick example. Today, I was out for a run. If you follow my Instagram, you'll see you could have watched my run, because I was like, I'm sick of running. I'm gonna do a little video. But I met a guy today, and this is one of the things that's cool with Monaco. You really meet some interesting people. And
Sure.
this individual is actually designing a vessel that will, as it cruises along, it will suck in microplastic and turn that microplastic into hydrogen fuel.
Whoa.
Yeah, no, it's crazy tech. So I'm gonna having coffee with him tomorrow. We're gonna discuss more about that.
So, and are you saying that that makes even yachting more sustainable?
Well, that's the thing.
If everyone were to implement that.
Well, the reason I'm here in Monaco is I'm a member of the Monaco Yacht Club, and they have a captain's club, and they let certain people in, or certain captains in every year. It's a really great honor, and I thank the Monaco Yacht Club for that. Anyway, they've invited me to this dinner where the topic is changing the image or keeping the image of yachting for improving that image. And a big part of that, in what a lot of people don't realize, and I talked about this with a podcast that I did with the Explorers Club, was that the tech that comes out of this industry is right on par with the space program. And we've got so many great things that came out of the space program, like Tang, so like instant breakfast drink.
Velcro
came out of the space program. Exactly. And you, but just the stuff that they're doing with the America's Cup boat, how we're utilizing power. A lot of these boats have zero pollutions that come out of that. You can drink the wastewater. You can breathe the exhaust coming out of the stacks on some of these vessels. And it's because that the owners of these boats, they recognize that they're targets because of their wealth and because these boats are huge, that they need to design vessels that not only meet current environmental standards, but exceed them. And then also will set the benchmark for things that we do in the future. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's incredible.
That I get to do.
It's incredible. And you've introduced me to a lot of the stuff in the industry, like the up and coming tech and the innovations that happen in that industry is phenomenal. Tess, thank you so much for the super chat. Team Sean, Tess is always Team Sean. We know you're here.
Tess, we love you. We
love you so much. I just want to take some comments really quick. Hi from San Diego. I'm late to the party. Judy, you have to go back and watch because we had a fellow San Diegan. That's what I was trying to think of the word.
Yeah.
And hi everyone in the chat. Thanks guys for being here. This is a lot of fun. Do they ever use dumbwaiters on boats?
I've worked with lots of them.
I think that we just there's been some tossed off of a couple seasons of Below Deck too. So
absolutely,
yes, I don't have a photo of Camila. I'd bring her up. Okay, I have another question too. If you had a crew member threaten violence against another, would you allow them to quit and give them a letter of recommend, or is it just done? We saw that on Below Deck Adventure.
Everything has context, and if it's like, it's like the guys are out on deck and like somebody do something stupid and be like, "I'm gonna kill you." That's one thing, and you're like, "Come on, like work it out." But if I think like I'll give you an example. It's like I had. Two crew members go at it on the back deck. This is actually on the sister ship to Parsival. We were tied up in Italy, and two crew members just like literally physically went at it. And I fired them both. And it wasn't a question of who started it or who didn't start it. But that's one thing that you can't tolerate. I mean, people are going to yell and scream at each other and maybe say things that they don't mean, but if it's going to physically come to blows, then they gotta go. And usually it takes two to tango. And I've often said, if you're gonna get into a fight with someone, you better just don't do it, because I'll have to fire you both.
Wow. Yeah. I mean that's fair. That's fair.
Takes two to dance. Yeah, it takes two to dance.
I have two more questions for you, and these are the ones I just pulled because we got so many questions. So we're gonna like kind of filter them over the next few weeks. I can't wait to see you in person, by the way, and we can do
Yeah.
this in person. It'd be great. But Shelly Tarbert, who has commented a lot tonight, and we appreciate you. How common is it that crew fib on their resumes? We saw this on Below Deck Adventure. Yes, we did. And then a pre-placement deckhand came in, and I think you're referring to Seth, who came into Below Deck Adventure, who's actually a captain as well. But on the last episode, he did ask to be appointed a bosun. But he's already a captain. He captains smaller ships. Do you get a lot of people that fib on their resume when you hire them, and then you hire them and you realize, wow, this was a mistake? Which we're seeing a lot this season on Below Deck.
You know, I don't know. You know, I've been lucky. It's just like, I mean, what are they going to lie about? I mean, there are certain boats. I check references. So if I'll call the other guys and be like, which actually goes into a question I saw about passing one bad crew on to another. We'll get that one. I've actually got a funny story about that. But thank you, Judy. And yes, that's another thing that why I'm here is like one of the things I want to do to help improve the image of yachting is have a television show which really shows this amazing tech that we're doing, the amazing places that we go, and doesn't focus really on the drama, but on the real camaraderie that that happens between crew. And you know, I was thinking of you, Gabby, but since you don't want to work with me, I guess you know. Well, oh, I kid. Anyway, the heck was I talking about? I don't know. What was I talking about?
I don't know. What were you talking about? Here, I have another question for you.
I'm ranting.
It's okay.
Oh, yeah. Lying on resumes.
Lying on resumes. How common is that? Like, how common is that you get crew members who are like, hey, I've been this, I've been that. But then the thing is, it's like, if you're lying, especially on the deck crew, you're going to see that.
Well, if you're lying, if like in your resume, if you're like, you went into Cirque du Soleil and you'd be like, I'm an aerial acrobat, you know, it's going to be pretty.
Trust me, I tried it and it didn't go over well.
It's going to be pretty obvious that you're not that great on the trapeze. I'm a pretty good, like I like interviewing people. I do a pretty in-depth interview, and I'm pretty good at figuring out if someone's embellished a bit. And I don't mind a bit of embellishment if they've got confidence in their abilities and then can back it up. And I'm willing to give anyone a chance.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. So we do have a chat room going, guys. This is for Below Deck. We're not covering any kind of legal thing about Murdoch or whatever. So just keep the chat to the subject that we're on tonight. Okay, we have another. I have another question for you, Captain Sean, because I found this one kind of interesting too. This is the last one from Shelly. She promises. Last week I asked about whales being trained by Russian spies and felt like an idiot, which you shouldn't feel like an idiot. This is you can ask these questions. Okay, this is fine. I was speaking about a boat that showed a beluga whale returning a rugby ball to a boat filming. They put it out that she was an escaped spy whale, which I don't believe at all. Is this something that actually happens? Because you know a lot about the military kind of realm of the nautical world. So fill us in on some spy whales.
Well, those those beluga spy whales. I mean, there's been instances when like the old of the honeypot of sending in like a really hot woman and they try to trap. Well, the belugas do that as well too. I mean, they're really duplicitous. They especially because that lipstick looks really good on that white skin. Yeah, so they're like, hey baby, I'm not a Russian spy whale or anything. No,
I need you to do that all over again.
Tune in next week. We are going to have 30 minutes of Sean doing his lady whale. So.
Mad TV is returning to your screens.
I'm not a Russian spy whale or anything. Why do I sound like Wanda Sykes?
Why would she be the best voice for that?
That would
Like,
be,
why do I think that she would be the best voice for that?
You'd be a great Russian beluga spy whale. No, that's not a dumb question. There's actually been that was a stupid response, but yeah, no, there's they've been trying to train dolphins and whales to be part of surveillance on both sides of the fence. The dolphins they found were like they would like. There's a great in Life Aquatic, one of my favorite movies. We has like the albino dolphins, and they're just completely useless. And that's what the Navy is at the experiments that I read in the 60s that they tried to do. I don't know if the Russians were well, the Russians did always do like to go bigger and better. So strapping cameras and bombs to whales, I wouldn't put it past them. Having that program, and there is actually documentation that both navies have tried to do it. So not a completely dumb question.
Wow.
Yeah,
I mean,
Shelley,
that's kind of,
and we're laughing, Shelly, because we love you, and the whole
love your question. Honestly,
whales is amazing. So
spy whales. That's our
awesome,
next.
Shelley.
That's our next show. Spy whales.
And she asked me. She had another good question too about any wild creatures that I've encountered in the my brain wanders too. But yeah, no, I think I've swam with whales, a humpback in Nova Scotia that was amazing, and I was literally as close to the whale as my hand, and he swam right by me, or she, I really couldn't tell. But the whale was so cognizant that I was there that as it swam by me, it moved its fin behind its back, so it didn't hit me.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean they're super intelligent. They're very kind creatures. Amazing
to see them that close too.
Oh yeah,
that's
something I'll never forget.
I
was also in the water with a great white shark one time. That was
my dream.
No, I wasn't. It wasn't like in a cage. It was I was up in Maine, and I was holding my breath, and this great white came up to investigate. But that was anyway. We can talk about that one.
I follow this woman, and I loved her documentary and stuff too. Ocean Ramsey, if you follow her on Instagram, and she shows you how to if sharks approach you or just kind of deals with the shark realm, right? She's fantastic. I think Josh, you actually sent me one of the Instagrams of her before.
I don't know. I'm terrified of sharks, so I always send.
Sean. Captain Sean, sorry, I just did it an Alissa to you.
Oh
God, I just said Sandy, Captain Sandy, Sean, Captain Sean. We really appreciate you being here tonight, and thank you. I know you have some more questions. We're gonna save them for next week because we're gonna move on to our quick recap of this episode that kind of went array this week. It was a little weird, but where are you gonna be next week?
Yeah, where in the world is Captain Sean next week?
Yes, like Carmen Sandiego. Do you know her, by the way?
What?
Do you know Carmen Sandiego? Do you know?
Yes, I do. Oh, of course I know. That was one of my favorite shows.
Yeah,
that was a great show.
That was a great show. I used to feel bad for the kids that got Africa at the end. To be like, because that was like the worst. Because they had tons of countries in there as well. But anyway, great. Yeah, for those of you who don't know Carmen Sandiego, look it up. I just want to give a shout out to Maria from Denmark. She reached out to me.
Okay.
Hope you're doing well, and that was great. Is there anything else going on? No, that's about it. But I had one more question, one quickie. It says this is from this is from Goldilocks, and she said, "What's the difference between port and starboard and left and right?" And I'm going to give it to everybody.
Oh, this is good. I know this, and this is going to be great. Go ahead.
Okay. So, first of all, for those of you port has 4 letters and left has 4 letters. And that's how you can remember the difference between port and starboard being right. Now, why do we have port and starboard? Well, the difference is when you're standing on a bridge and there's 3 people up on the bridge, and this goes from old timey sailing. You have a helmsman and you've got people doing other things up there. Now, wheel commands are only given in left or right. So if I were to say, come left 15 degrees, the helmsman knows that I'm only talking to him. Whereas if I said 15 degrees to starboard, that means I need to look 15 degrees to starboard. So it just makes sure that the helmsman knows that when he hears left or right, that he's been giving wheel commands, and not inadvertently, if someone says 15 degrees to starboard, he then turns the wheel and goes 15 degrees. So anyway, that's your nautical minute with Captain Sean.
Wow.
See, I thought it was going to be, I thought there was only port and starboard. There was no use of left and right. And I would have thought it was the same for the stage when we say stage left and stage right. So everyone knows exactly what side, rather than just, hey, look to the left. And depending on which way you're on the boat, like, you know, but wow, that's interesting. So left and right are used, but only with the helmsman.
Correct.
That's insane. That's insane.
We just
Captain Sean, you are a wealth of information every week.
Thank you.
We really appreciate you. You take the time every week to be here. I mean, what can I say? What can I say?
We love you. We love
We
you.
love you. And if you guys have questions for Captain Sean, leave them in the comments below. Again, we brought up a lot of questions that we had last week from the comments and the Twitter. So if you guys want to reach out to Captain Sean on Twitter or Instagram, I know you take your DMs and you have your questions and you answer them here. So we appreciate you so much.
Yeah. And thanks to Shelly, I think we fully explored spy whales. So if you guys want to move on to sea lions or dolphins next week, let's do it.
Yes.
Good night from Monaco, or actually good morning from Monaco.
Good morning from Monaco. Good morning and good night. Thank you, Sean. We appreciate you.
Have a good night.
Josh, I mean, like, have we been spoiled? It's an hour and 7 minutes in, and we're literally like, we've had the best guests tonight. I felt like with the conversation with Gabby and Sean have just like led us into a different perspective of how we look into Below Deck every week.
Well, okay. So first of all, thanks to all of you guys who watch the show.
Yes.
You guys have made an inviting environment. When we reach out to people, invite them onto the show, they definitely check it out, and they definitely check out your guys' comments and stuff like that. Because trust me, they're not going to want to come in if it's some kind of viper pit, and you know we're going to get them. And this, you guys are so inviting to guests that like that's how we keep getting guests, guys. And we have other guests, some possibly of the current season, talking to us about coming on
very soon.
By, and it's because you guys make this such a fun place. So thank you, guys.
I just listed them for you.
Quit. Don't give away our secret. Okay, Jason, we watched an episode last night.
Did we watch an episode of Below Deck? I'm so confused.
We did. So,
listen, what would you rate this episode? Because I felt like I was watching it the whole time, and I was watching with Adam, and Adam's like, not much happened, huh? And Adam, he really enjoys Below Deck now. He's like, wow, this is actually a good show. I'm like,
welcome to the party. Welcome to the party.
Welcome.
Later.
Finally on your own channel. Here we go. What would you rate this episode if you could, like 1 to 10? Just like, let's say.
Okay, overall, I think it's kind of like a 6 as far as like just how episodes go.
Yeah.
But
I agree with that number.
But to me though, it was like an 8 or a 9 for me in some ways, because I do really feel like, again, I'm a fan. I've made no, I haven't hidden the fact I'm a fan of Fraser. I'm a fan of Captain Sandy. It's been a bummer for me to watch them be like not connecting or like at odds.
I really in a predicament.
Yeah. And you know what? There's a variety of reasons why maybe they weren't connecting, but I felt like they really started to connect this episode, and that excited me because, like I said, I'm starting to see the Fraser who we fell in love with at the other season, and he's now kind of back. He's starting to like sprout, and it's exciting because this is the chief stew we want and we deserve, and like we're getting him. So it's like, yeah, it's so in that way it was good. And of course, whenever we get a difficult guest that we just want to wring their neck,
Okay, which
Big
difficult? Okay, because we had. Okay, let's really quickly. Let's go over the
Miss
episode because
Sandwich, Miss Turkey Club. That's who I'm talking about.
in this group of people right here, who were the guests that you and I like. We love these guests, right?
We
They
want
just
the wacky
wrangle the
over the top
crew.
gas.
Yes, they're just a good time. But I have to say, since Camille left, and I wasn't a fan of Camille at all. Like, just to be honest. Did I think she was maybe slightly more respectful to the way she spoke to Captain Sandy? For sure. A lot of people are debating the fact of how Sandy treated Camille versus Alissa. And my perspective on this, really quick, and I don't know what yours is, but is that when Sandy came on, right, to the boat, she was taking over for Lee. Camille was already an issue. She was trying to step in without like making waves right away, right?
Mhm.
And then you had to make that decision, get rid of her. She's done. Then you saw Alissa take a left turn, which is unfortunate because I really liked her. I really and you even see it in this episode when Sandy lets her go. It's kind of like, I don't know. You saw her cry
was
for a minute, and you
bittersweet.
saw the humanity in her, and it's just
Well,
like, I don't think you meant all of that you said. I think you were trying to be something. You were trying to stand up for Fraser. Fraser was a little bit in fault here for like kind of saying how he felt about the captain to the rest of his team too, right? Like Sandy is definitely in the wrong. I'm sorry, Captain Sandy, and I'm gonna get so much shit for this. She's not gonna come on the show ever again now that I just said that. But Captain Sandy said, or when she was talking to Fraser in front of the other crew, it kind of felt demeaning a little bit. But then you have Fraser going to the rest of his team and talking bad about Captain Sandy. It's kind of a tit for tat, and it just added up to be
two
not a
wrongs
good
make a
experience.
wrong. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
But
well, Alissa, so here's the thing. We were such fans of her early on, and then she kind of got caught up in, it kind of reminds me of, I wonder if Gabby had the opportunity to talk to Alissa ahead of time and said, hey, remember to have fun. Remember what this is. I feel like Alissa went down a path of like you said, she was trying to defend Fraser, and like it's almost like you get in such a negative space, you forget like, oh, I'm in a negative space. And Gabby kind of hit on that tonight, like when she was sharing, like when she left, part of it was she even said like, I wish I would have remembered to have fun and to keep it light and remember what we're doing here. Like we are doing a show and we're doing the job. And it's like, so yeah, I just wonder if Alissa, I think, again, we liked Alissa at the top of this season. So I think she may look back on this and go, I'm not 100% down with how I handled some stuff.
sure.
Again, is she 100% to blame? No, but I do think like the only thing we can control is how we respond to a situation, right?
100%.
And I think if she would have responded a little differently, her mindset would have been a better place. And maybe things wouldn't gotten so dark for her too, just like what went down with Gabby. It's kind of an apropos episode to have Gabby on and chat with us. Cause
100%.
I feel like her arc is similar, like in some ways. Cause it was like, we liked her, and then all of a sudden it just got dark, and it's like, well, what the hell happened? And
yeah, no, and I have to agree too. And I think Gabby kind of reminded us too tonight the different perspectives of the different crew members. Like for Alissa, she started with a captain that was not Captain Sandy; it was Captain Lee.
Yeah,
and then she was thrown into this, and Captain Sandy didn't love Fraser's approach to leadership, and a lot of people in the chat and a lot of people that I've seen on Twitter too agree with that.
yeah.
As much as we are Team Fraser here, we have been Team Fraser since the first episode of season 9 when we were introduced to Captain Sean. I love him, and I can't wait for him to be back next season. I think he'll work very well with Carrie. I think it would be great, and they're filming right now. P.S. By the way, but you see her go through this. Okay, we had the captain change. She had to deal with Camille, and then now she doesn't know where she sits, and she's you have Fraser who's frustrated by Captain Sandy. You have Alissa who feels things by Captain Sandy, and now she is kind of thinking she's doing the right thing by standing up for Fraser.
Yeah.
And it kind of
Yeah.
backfired, so I understand that a little bit too. But remember, this is only 6 weeks.
I know.
And I love to remind people of this.
Yeah,
So Ross and Katie, only 6 weeks.
The other thing is, if you look at, I hit on this with Gabby when we were talking about it. I do feel like we saw a happier Fraser and a more focused Fraser, and quite frankly, a more experienced now, because he's been doing it a few weeks and he's had a chance to get used to that boat and stuff. So I do feel like Fraser's entering a good place. And I do think that part of it was, whether you agree or disagree with why Gabby ended up at that place, I do think she was at a place that she needed to get off the boat, for everyone, for her sanity.
Wait, Alissa or Gabby?
Oh, excuse me, Alissa. Sorry. Alissa, I feel like Alissa had to leave the boat. Now you're throwing on Gabby pictures. You confuse me. Stop it. No, I do feel like Alissa was at a point where, for her own sanity and also for the sanity of the crew and the captain and everything, she had to go. And I do think everyone's going to be better for it. Would I like to see Alissa come back another episode or another season? Yeah. So
do you think we would see Alissa come back with Fraser with Captain Carey in a different situation? I would like to see it, but I don't know if we will.
I don't know. And I also wonder if Fraser, look, if I was Fraser, I would say, hey, like, I'll recommend you. I'll say, but I don't know if we're a good combo, because like maybe we feed into each other a little, like, know, and like, or something like, it's part of it's just growing up and getting perspective, so, and there's a lot of things. If this situation was different, if she was with the captain who she was originally hired by or promised to be with and stuff like that, like a lot of stuff happened this season. So yeah, I was like, a part of me was like, because she did say, I was fired apparently for no reason or whatever. And I was like, okay, now you sound a little crazy here. Like, listen, things ain't copacetic, so you do know, it's not just for no reason, but
no, 100%. 100%. I do want to move on a little bit to, I feels like, and I feel like it might be a little too late, that Captain Sandy and Fraser might have had a reset. Okay. This is why I named it this. This is why we decided to put this up. Right. Okay. Mm-hmm. So do you think it's too late for this reset? Because I feel like finally, like you said, they finally maybe have come to a medium. They understand each other a little bit. And now Captain Lee's coming back.
Well, yeah, unfortunately, just time is not on their side now. Like they made up and it feels like, and they're, but this is also Below Deck. They are two beloved people of the franchise. They could easily end up on a season together now, heck, Captain Sandy came in and captained the main franchise. Like, we did not see that coming. So who knows what the future can hold. Yes. But those two are definitely going to be around. They are in the stable of Below Deck talent. That so who knows, and so, yeah, I think they could end up working together. Obviously, we got word that Captain Lee is on his way back. We've also heard through the grapevine he's not going to finish this season,
which is so crazy. And I don't know if that's I don't know if we're going to get the introduction to Carey this season or next.
A lot of reliable sources are saying it, so we'll see. I mean, a lot of us, you guys saw it, I'm sure you guys saw on social media some of those people who are saying that stuff. So, but yeah, I think it'll be interesting. It will be funny. Oh, one thing I did think about, Jason, is I was looking at Captain Lee's tweets from last night, because remember, he kind of put Captain Sandy through the ringer about letting Camille go. And I noticed there doesn't seem to be any talk about it with letting Alissa go. I think Captain Lee got so much guff from like, hey, dude, she's trying to help you out and stuff like that. So I think he kind of stepped back from this one. I was like, I'm not going to tweet about this. I'm coming back. I don't need to come.
The thing is, too, is there's a lot of camaraderie between the captains right now. And I don't know, it's because, there just is a camaraderie. Like, you have Jason, Carey. We saw it at BravoCon, Adam and I. We saw it just recently at Captain Sandy's event and our event.
you've literally been with a couple of the captains, hung out and stuff like that, and
Yes.
they've even said like, "Oh, we're in close contact. We are like a team."
Yes, no, they are. So yeah, it'll be really interesting to see what I mean, what happens, because Carrie, Sandy, Jason, Glenn, they all support each other. They're always 100%. So it was kind of off, off character for Lee to be tweeting things like that. Really quickly, I want to run down the rest of the episode, right? Because we have our new charter guests, which we love.
And the great thing is they're not gone yet. Like, we have them next episode. So
yes,
like,
we do.
this is getting to be a long episode, guys. We know it, so apologies. We will hit on a lot of this next episode because we'll be recapping like these guests, the kind of their whole stay. But their male companion with this very interesting history. We found out he was married before, he had a daughter, and then it turned out it wasn't his biological daughter. And then he comes out, he's no longer like, married to a woman, and he, and so it's like, I mean, this guy alone, super interesting, crazy story.
I mean, talk about interesting. I thought you were going to wear this tonight.
I am currently wearing it. I just didn't want to stand up because
please don't.
No. Please. Well, and like one of them keeps falling out. No. Stop. We're gonna go too crazy here. Save it for next week's tip meeting.
All right. That's fine.
But, God.
I mean, listen, the queens have arrived. Okay, I want to go. Okay, two things. What is her name? Is it LaQuiche? LaQuiche?
Well,
LaQuiche?
All I know, that wasn't the crew calling her.
Okay, listen. Name. Yes, like, why did you ask for a turkey sandwich and you didn't eat it? I was so mad because all I wanted was a turkey sandwich and a Sprite. Actually, that sounds amazing right now, I have to say.
I did tweet to everyone like, "Hey, Jason, I will not be serving turkey sandwiches at tonight's show. Please bring your own."
Not tonight. No, we can't afford that either. But I do have to say, I'm with her on a lot of things. Okay, this is
you would be. I think if you got on the yacht, you would purposely want to be a pain in the ass. I'm not.
Yeah, be like, "Where's my turkey sandwich?" No, never mind. I want prime rib. Yeah, and then we'd had Fraser looking at me like, "What?"
Yeah.
What the hell did you just ask for? Okay, I have to say, this is the job of yachting. People come on with these over-the-top expectations, and you have to manage those expectations. You have to be there, and no matter what they want. I am kind of her because I love sleeping on the couch in a different environment. I would love that. Leave the doors open. Let me hear the water. Sure. Give me a turkey sandwich. And maybe I want to unwrap it at 3 a.m. and have my Sprite and my turkey sandwich. I'm not mad at it. She might be. I'm not. But this is the guests we like. Who is the one from Below Deck Sailing that we always talk about?
Oh gosh, they're like notorious. Like,
they're notorious. They're like the worst guests ever.
Yeah, I can't think of
the gay couple who was married then unmarried, and the son is marrying the other person. The other person is with the son's friend. The friend's daughter's with it got so confusing. Anyway, moving on. Love Tyler. By the way, Tyler is a superstar on this show. He is literally so relatable. I love every time he shares any part of his story with us. It is phenomenal. I hope we have him on our show in the next couple of weeks, which I think we will. But he's honest, he's genuine.
So one of my favorite moments, I tweeted this. I said, I love that Tyler is trying to share some of his OCD magic with Captain Sandy in the turn down. There was a moment where she was helping with the turn down, and he was like trying to teach her his like military crisp folds and stuff on the bed and stuff. And you could see Captain Sandy was like, "Wow, I am out of my league on this one." This guy is like, he's such a perfectionist. So it was a funny moment. I loved it. But both of them ended up liking that tweet. I think they appreciated, probably thought it was funny. So it was a fun moment. Oh, and Tyler had mentioned, had messaged me about, "Hey, Haley and I have a funny moment coming up." And I was like, "Oh, I wonder what this is." Oh my God. Last night, when they were caught by one of the guests, making fun of the guests.
Yes.
I'm in I'm in business world now, and I'm no longer in entertainment, my day job, and I have accidentally fired off an email to the wrong person. All of the dread that Haley was feeling, I have felt that before, and I'm like, oh
It's
my
almost as
gosh.
uncomfortable as this moment.
Oh,
Do you remember this moment from last
yes,
episode?
yes. But
Holy
that's the
shit.
past. We're living in the now. Haley getting caught. And the thing is, too, like, I love her so much. She is like an unsung hero this season. So for her to have that moment and Tyler and her just be like, because they're both sweet people. That's the funny thing. It's like,
Yeah.
so for the two of them to be caught and Haley, being sassy about one of the guests was just a fun, purely awkward, purely kind of adorable moment. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But like,
I have
yeah.
to agree. Okay, listen, we have a new stew coming in. And this new stew coming in next week is someone who happens to know Ben, who is still
Ben has
talking
some
to
kind of magic
Camille,
over ladies.
and he loves blondes. Like, we see his
definitely
type.
got a-
We get,
definitely
yeah,
got a
he has a type for sure. No, 100%. Guy, we officially have trolls, Josh, in our chat. Officially, we have made it on YouTube.
Do we have trolls?
We have
I
trolls.
love it.
Yes.
I love it.
So they're paid for by I don't know who, but we'll see. But yes, interesting. I'm excited to see that next week and how that dynamic might shift in the transition of Sandy finishing a charter and Lee coming back, and the crew has always been going through something, right? A firing, a change of captain, an awkward situation, an injury, a schedule change. Like, we could go on and on and on. But the one thing I never want to see again is 24 karat steak.
Ew.
Isn't that gross? Is that not gross?
Yeah, I when they showed a photo of it, I was like, what? Other than being a pain in the ass having that made, like you tweeted, like, just serve me a well-cooked steak, like at the right temperature. I was like,
Come on.
absolutely.
Less
Like,
is more.
a well-cooked
and
steak is perfection. Putting a piece of gold across it, if anything, I'd be like, oh, gross. Who ruined my steak? Like,
it's like
who
this
put
is
this shit on my steak.
This is like a West Hollywood club. It's like, you go in and let me give you a Tito soda, but with 2 limes instead of 1. It's like, why is this more special? Or let me make it smoke.
Yeah.
Is the drink going to be better? No, I'm drinking the same alcohol. I'm drinking the same drink. It's weird. I don't know.
And now I'm paying
It's
you
so
for
weird.
2 seconds of burning a cinnamon stick on top.
And you know what? That it looks it's like you got that at the 99-cent store. You draped it across a perfectly good steak. It's weird. Who wants that? I'm so mad about
it. Looks like a joke thing. I thought, like, is this a joke? Like, are Reddit users like trying to get people to think this is decadent and then laughing at everyone who does it?
Yes, absolutely. And watch it happen. Or really quickly, this is the last thing I want to touch on tonight, because this is like the other big storyline besides Camille, Alissa. If you're Team Fraser, Team Sandy, we can be Team everyone. It's fine. Don't worry. But Katie finally realizes that Ross lives across the globe, so this will never work out. But yet she is with him later making out. Where are you sitting, girl? Like, I'm not really sure.
It's frustrating because she is she's sweet, she's pretty, she's a kind person. Like, she's a real catch of a girl. Yes. And so to be given her attentions to that guy is like, what? Like, yeah. So
oh, poor
Ross. You are better than that. Poor
Ross, poor Katie. I don't know what's gonna happen.
Who cares?
Who the hell cares? I'm so glad she's realizing all these things. Like, every time she has a realization, though, like, you want to root for her, and then she turns around and she does the opposite of what she said. She loves to complain about it, but then she loves to do it. You know what I mean? So I feel like we're just lost here. Anyway, I felt like we hit all the points. I felt like this was, a lower episode, not a lower episode, just one of those episodes that is kind of like, okay, we're working our way up to another episode. Lee is coming back, a new Chief Stew, all of the above. Captain Sandy will be on the Jennifer Hudson show tomorrow. and she has been on. She's been on everything. She's been on Shenanigans with Sheena, which the guest before Captain Sandy on Shenanigans with Sheena from Vanderpump Rules was Adam. You should go listen to that podcast. It's amazing. You can watch it on YouTube as well. And then Captain Sandy was on there. She was on Juicy Scoop. She's doing a whole press tour right now. And then Jennifer Hudson, like that came out of the blue. I was like, wow, she's on the Jennifer Hudson show tomorrow. So we shall see what she has to say. She had a lot of great things to say on Juicy Scoop with Heather McDonald, but I will leave that for you guys to go listen to and make your own opinion about.
Next week, we want to hear your thoughts, and we want to hear you actually share them yourselves live on the air. So
are we doing that for sure?
We're going to do it
next
guys,
week.
This
Okay,
is
listen to this.
Next week, we're going to come on here. It's going to be a tighter episode. We're aiming for 30 minutes. Lord knows we're probably going to hit 40, right? But that's okay. What we will immediately do is move to the second Up and Adam channel. We'll have the link there. Don't worry. You don't have to look for it now. You can subscribe early, though, and Adam will be happy with us that you did. But if not, we're going to throw it over. You have to be a subscriber, just like this channel, to be part of the chat.
Yes.
But we're going to have you call in. So please do this. If this goes well, tip night our tip meeting is going to become a thing. And so we're trying it out to see. We're giving you guys a week's warning. So yeah,
it's like so we do these things right now called after parties. We just started the new channel.
Yes.
Or whatever. But we're doing these things called after parties where it's like right after the episode of whatever we're going to talk about ends, we go on and just like give thoughts and talk to the chat, right? Next week, we're going to do kind of an after party for our own show, Anchor Watch. We'll do an after Anchor Watch party. But we want you guys to call in because we miss calling in. And, we do record this episode also for the podcast. So,
and Lord knows you guys have plenty of thoughts and opinions about this season.
Oh, so, especially next week. Especially next week.
You can still come on the show. We want to hear from you. We are totally open to hearing your thoughts and stuff.
Yes. And we see even people want to call in. So N-Dub wants to call in. So next week, we'll do a 30-minute show here to do our Anchor Watch. And then we will do our tip meeting after party over on Up and Adam 2. Can't wait. And then Josh and I we're also going to do another show, which we'll get to soon too.
Lord knows where we'll find the time, but we're going to do it because we love you guys so
listen,
much.
I can't believe we kept everyone for an hour and a half. We have 181 in the room currently. Thank you guys for being here again.
Jason, they weren't here for us. They were here for Gabby and Captain Sean. Let's face it.
Hold on. Wait, where are my pictures of Gabby? Would you not be here for Gabby? I was just happy she said yes. Last week when Adrian and I were drinking boxed wine and I said, I'd really love to talk to Gabby, and we don't really agree with each other a lot on Twitter, but I really feel her perspective when it comes to certain things, right? So she put me on the phone with her. It was random. And even Gabby said, we didn't really agree. I'm like, that's great because you make me think. And I appreciate it because you've been there. You've done that. So.
And you guys loved her so much. Obviously, we loved her. We will get her back.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The rest of the season's got some crazy stuff coming. So it'll be fun to get her on. And let's do we met Gabby. We all know her now. Now we're going to make her do a recap with us. We will bring her in and we'll do a recap and go through the episode and get her perspective.
That would be great, especially towards the end of the season, right before the reunion. I would love to get her back. So we will. Guys, again, thank you, mods. Tonight is the first time we've ever really needed mods in this chat. We have officially made it, Josh. We have trolls. That's amazing. Welcome to YouTube.
And you know what? The engagement only helps with the algorithm.
Yes, thank you so much for commenting in the live chat. You can troll in the comments below. If you haven't done so already, hit that like button. It helps us out tremendously. Thank you to all our subscribers. Thank you guys for sending in your questions for Captain Sean. Thank you for supporting us tonight. And Gabby and Josh, anything else?
Sweet dreams, everyone. Good night. Go to bed.
Sweet dreams. Happy sailing. Good night, everyone. Bye.